John Denver finally gets addressed by Emmylou Harris at 78. One of the most prominent voices in American music, Emmylou Harris was born on April 2, 1947, in Birmingham, Alabama. She is known for her soaring vocals, emotional songwriting, and ability to fluidly blend country, folk, rock, and Americana. Harris was gifted academically and artistically early on. She was raised military. Her father, a Marine Corps officer who was a prisoner of war in Korea, gave her endurance and strength that would later influence her music. While studying acting at UNC Greensboro, she became fascinated to folk music, inspired by Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, and Pete Seeger. This passion of music would lead her to leave her studies and influence American roots music forever. Her early musical years were difficult. She played in Greenwich Village coffee shops during the folk revival after moving to NYC in the late 1960s. She struggled to make a living as a musician, working odd jobs like many young artists of that time. Her 1969 debut album, Gliding Bird, showed her skill but did not garner much attention. A brief marriage and motherhood tested her commitment, but she never gave up. Graham Parsons, a famed country rock artist, changed her life and career in the early 1970s. Harris's exceptional voice was recognized by Parsons, a former Bird and Flying Burrito Brothers member, who requested her to sing harmony with him. Though brief, their musical cooperation was influential. They recorded GP, 1973, and Grievous Angel, 1974, country rock landmarks. Harris's crystal harmonies gave Parsons' work a lift, and his tutelage introduced her to traditional country music. Harris was devastated when Parsons died of a heroin overdose in 1973, but it inspired her to continue his songs. She called Parsons her musical soulmate and honored him throughout her career to preserve his pioneering spirit. Harris began her own career with increased purpose after Parsons' death. Her 1975 Reprise Records album Pieces of the Sky made her famous. She gained a bigger audience with her characteristic blend of traditional country songs, current covers, and her own flair on the album. If I Could Only Win Your Love showed her ability to customize any song, old or modern. After this triumph, she released Elite Hotel, 1975, Luxury Liner, 1977, and Quarter Moon in a 10-Cent Town, 1978, which established her as one of the most innovative and varied performers in the business. Harris's collaborative spirit is a hallmark of her profession. She surrounded herself with brilliant musicians, notably the Hot Band, which featured a teenage Rodney Crowell and genius guitarist Albert Lee. She later recorded trio projects with Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt, generating some of country music's most stunning three-part harmonies. She collaborated with Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Buddy Miller, Gillian Welch, and Ryan Adams across genres and decades. She discovered new music and bridged country, folk, and rock with her artistic generosity. Harris has always created personal, spiritual art. Her songs often address love, loss, longing, redemption, and significance. She never avoided vulnerability, and her ability to convey true human feeling in her music makes it remarkable. Her 1995 Daniel Lanois-produced album, Wrecking Ball, boldly transitioned from her country sound to ethereal textures and experimental production while preserving her emotional honesty. Her willingness to take risks kept her career fresh and relevant for decades, appealing to country, alternative, and indie listeners. In addition to her music, Emmylou Harris is recognized for her humanity and calm courage. She founded Bonaparte's Retreat to save pets from euthanasia. She has also spoken out for landmine removal, disaster relief, and veterans. Her advocacy, like her music, shows her compassion and global duty. Harris has garnered 14 Grammy Awards, induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2008, and the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2018. While honorable, these awards barely begin to represent her effect. She has inspired many musicians, from stars to songwriters, and her work continues to inspire people who believe music can heal, unify, and transcend boundaries. Each of Emmylou Harris's 3 marriages has shaped her understanding of love, partnership, and family. She freely called herself a pretty wonderful ex-wife, demonstrating her thoughtfulness, honesty, and self-awareness in her relationships, admitting both the joys and hardships of marriage without bitterness. When she met fellow folk musician Tom Slocum in 1969 in Greenwich Village, New York City's creative hub and folk music scene, her first big relationship chapter began. Their artistic sensibility and youthful enthusiasm prompted them to marry in the same year, combining their personal and professional lives during a time of cultural and musical revolution in America. Harris and Slocum had their first daughter, Hallie, in 1970. Harris struggled to manage her growing career and parenthood after having a child. Despite road life's obstacles as a young performer, she took Hallie on tours to include the youngster in her world. Harris made the difficult decision to have Hallie spend most of her time with her grandparents in Maryland, knowing that frequent travel could not replace stability in a grounded upbringing. Harris admitted, "I don't think the road is good for kids," reflecting on this time. "It's fun occasionally, like going to Disneyland, but not as a habit," showing her thorough consideration of her daughter's best interests. Harris and Slocum divorced after 2 years in 1971, ending her first long-term relationship. After several years, Harris fell in love with her producer, Brian Ahern. Their professional partnership became personal. They married in 1977 at Ahern's Halifax, Nova Scotia, house, highlighting their love of intimacy and nature. The pair moved to Studio City, Los Angeles, California, an entertainment district where Harris could pursue her music career and start a family. Harris and Ahern had their second daughter, Megan, in 1979, increasing their family and motherhood. As a mother and a rising artist, Harris balanced domestic duties with artistic progress. Harris moved to Nashville, Tennessee, after their 1984 divorce, despite their history and creative synergy. This established the stage for her personal and professional future. Harris married songwriter and record producer Paul Kinnerly in 1985, her third marriage. This connection was based on a mutual love of music and storytelling, and Harris and her family resided in an older home near Nashville's Music Row, the city's country music hub, for several years. This location gave Harris a creative family setting while keeping her close to her profession. Despite their shared ideals and creative partnership, Harris and Kinnerly divorced in 1993, as she had before. Each marriage shaped Harris's views on love, family, and traveling, giving her a nuanced view of intimate relationship delights and challenges. For decades, Emmylou Harris and John Denver fans have wondered about their relationship, occasional collaborations, and mutual artistic appreciation. At 78, Harris has finally opened up about her private relationships, especially with Denver's caliber musicians, in a rare and heartfelt interview, revealing their bond and Denver's lasting impact on her life and career. Harris, famed for her ethereal vocals and flawless combination of country, folk, and rock elements, began by contemplating on whoever John Denver was outside of the stage persona millions loved. Genuineness was John's top quality. Softly, she explained, "He was unpretentious. You'd encounter the man singing Take Me Home country roads backstage or on a peaceful hill walk. He valued nature, generosity, and music as a connector. That was his real self." She recalled how they met during the 1970s folk and country boom, when Harris was gaining fame and Denver was a global icon. Although they never made an album together, fans still recall their performances at charity concerts and special events. Their musical tastes complemented each other in surprising ways. Harris smiled and said singing with John was easy. Voices appeared to understand each other. "When I joined in with a harmony, it felt like we were weaving something bigger than ourselves because of his clear, soaring voice. Sometimes music makes you feel without thinking, and that was the case with him." Harris became more somber as she spoke of Denver's 1997 plane crash death at 53. She struggles with the memories after all these years. She recognized that no one who knew him has really recovered from that loss. It was unexpected and unjust. John had much more to share. His light and presence were supposed to last. "After hearing the news, I sat silently for hours. Perhaps I didn't want to believe it." Harris added that Denver's music and environmental activism will live on through his premature death. She said John was ahead of his time in many ways. He loved the earth, protecting nature, and urging us to be stewards. Long before climate change and conservation were common, John used his platform to declare, "We need to take care of this land we call home." His songs were filled with love, not preaching. Harris thought carefully before saying what she keeps from her association with Denver. She believed John gave her and others permission to be authentic. He never tried to suit an image or industry standards. He sang about his values, even if they weren't trendy. "It requires guts. It reminded me I could too. I could sing songs from my heart, even if they weren't genre-specific. John helped me remain an artist." Harris adds that speaking publicly about Denver has been difficult since the emotions are still raw as she looks on her long and spectacular career. At 78, she feels it's vital to share her recollections of him with herself and the generations of listeners who continue to discover his music. "We don't have many Johns in the world," she said. She spoke with sadness and thanks. "I miss him, honor him, and am thankful I shared even a small part of his journey. I feel like he's still here when I hear his songs, telling us to love more, live simply, and see the beauty around us." Emmylou Harris has revealed a friendship based on music, respect, and a love of life's basic pleasures in breaking her silence. Her comments honor John Denver and demonstrate how music may create lasting bonds.